Hello and welcome to the Ilaje Tech Hub Campus channel. I'm Oluwole Omojofodun, and today we are diving into a topic that often confuses job seekers. We're going to be looking at the difference between a CV and a resume. So, whether you are applying for a job, a research position, or a scholarship, understanding these differences can make all the difference. So, let's get started. So we're going to be looking at these differences. We're going to be looking at the difference between a CV and a resume, looking at 5 major key differences between them. So the first difference we're going to look at is in length and detail. Also, we're going to be looking at the purpose and usage among the difference. The third difference is in content focus, and the fourth difference is in geographical differences. And last one, we're going to look at differences in their customization. All right, so we're going to be looking at all of these step by step and one after the other so that we can fully understand what a CV is and also what a resume is, and also we can be prepared whenever we want to submit. We know maybe we want to submit a CV or we want to submit a resume for a particular job offering. All right, so let's get started. So first, let's talk about the length and detail of each of the document. Each of the document we are talking about a CV and a resume. So we have here that a CV or curriculum vitae is typically more comprehensive, right? And can be several pages long. So it also provides a detailed overview of your entire career, including education, work experience, publications, presentations, awards, honors, affiliations, and other academic and professional achievements. So that is what a CV is. Now we have some example here. For example, if you're applying for a university professor position, so your CV might include sections detailing your teaching experience, research projects, published papers, and any conferences that you've attended or spoken at. So what we are saying is that a CV contains comprehensive details about you, and it's more than one pages, like 2 pages, three. It contains a very detailed and comprehensive uh, records about you, right? And also now let's now look at a resume. So on the other hand, a resume is usually concise, something that is very small, usually 1 page, and it's limited to 1 or 2 pages, right? Resume focuses on summarizing your relevant work experience, skills, and education, and is tailored to a specific job application. For instance, if you are applying for a marketing manager role, your resume might highlight your marketing strategies, campaign successes, and relevant job roles. Now, what we are saying is we have a CV, and then we have the resume here. So we are saying that a CV usually consists of comprehensive details about you, about your career, including your education, work experience, publications, presentations, awards, and a lot regarding you. But now, a resume is usually concise, something short, something not too long, right? That is limited to 1 or 2 pages, and it summarizes your relevant work experience and is tailored to the particular role that you want to apply for, right? Now, in this course of looking at the difference, we're going to look at um, the geographical differences between a resume and a CV, and in that you'll be able to see, because there are some countries that actually call those two as one. So that is one of the difference between these two topic, length and detail, between a CV, curriculum vitae, and resume. So let's look at number two difference between a CV and a resume. So number two, so next we're going to discuss the purpose and usage of this document. How is CV? How are they used? Resumes, how are they used also? So we have here that a CV is used primarily in academia, education, research, and in some countries for general job applications. It's common for applications to academic, education, scientific, and research positions, as well as for fellowships or grants. Now, for example, why if you are applying for a research grant might require a CV detailing your research experience, publications, and academic credentials. Now, the first thing we talk about is in length. We see that in length, a CV are usually more lengthy compared with a resume. And in terms of purpose and usage, we are saying that this difference help you to identify the one you ought to prepare. So in this place now, a CV is primarily used in academia, something that has to do with academic, education, or a research project. So now in some countries is kind of normal, like you submit the CV. We're going to look at it in geographical difference. But most of the time, a CV is required when you are, pursuing stuff regarding academics. You are doing stuff regarding education and research projects. So we have this example here that if you are trying to apply for a research grant here, you might require a CV that have your detailed information, that have stuffs about you, that have a lot of information about you, so that they can be able to ascertain that okay, this person is actually doing this. Now let's look at the usage and purpose of a resume. Now, a resume, on the other hand, is commonly used for job applications in the corporate, non-profit, and public sectors. Now, let's get this very straight. Now, we say a CV is used primarily in academia, education, and research, but a resume is used to apply for job applications in corporate, in businesses, that is the corporate world, non-profit, and also for public sectors. You can even use a resume to apply for government roles. Now, it is tailored to highlight experiences and skills relevant to the specific job you are applying for. Right, I have an example here that, for example, a resume for a software development job might emphasize your coding skills, software projects, and professional experience in tech companies. Now, this is very, very important to understand, right? In the aspect of the usage, we see that CVs are most of the time used in academia and education and research projects. And the resume is mainly used, to use it to apply for job openings in corporate, non-profit, and all. So that is one of the difference between a CV and a resume. So now let's talk about the third one, which is content focus. Now, in this one, we talk about the content focus of a CV and a resume. Now, we have here that a CV emphasizes academic achievements. That is one thing. Now, content focus means that the kind of content that a CV contains and the kind of content a resume contains. So, a CV emphasizes academic achievement, research experience, publications, presentations, and other scholarly activities, right? It includes detailed information on each role and position that you've held before. It could be in chronological order, or it could be in mixed order, it could be in functional order, right? So, for instance, now a CV for a doctorate degree candidate, PhD candidate, might list each research project, the outcomes, any paper published, and the conferences attended. So it shows that the content focus of a CV it's usually in academic achievement. It's usually used in the academic world, research work, and all that. So that is the essence for this example, that someone that is a doctorate degree holder, a candidate, they list all their research projects, the outcomes, the paper they've published, conferences they've attended, all those workshops and all that. So, but the content focus of a resume, on the other hand, is that a resume focuses on skills. It focuses on work experience, not much on education. It focuses on an accomplishment that is relevant to the job being applied for, right? It highlights key achievements and responsibilities in a more succinct manner, right? For example, now, a resume for a sales position might feature a section on sales achievements, such as increased sales by 20% in Q2 of 2023 and key roles held in different companies. So what are we talking about? What we are saying is that the content focus of a CV tends towards academic achievement, research experience, publications, and presentations, and any other scholarly activities that the person might have achieved. But a resume focuses on skills, work experience, and accomplishment that is relevant to the job being applied for. So, if you want to apply for the post of how will I say it? Let me give you this example. You want to apply for the post of business executive or business manager, marketing strategist, or in a particular company. So you see here now that by the version of the content focus and all what we've been talking about, you are to submit a resume, not a CV, right? You have to submit a resume, not a CV. So we say that a CV focus on your skills, your work experience, and accomplishment that is relevant to the job that you are applying for, right? So let's look at the fourth difference between a CV and a resume. Number four. Number four is geographical differences. Now, this particular one is very, very important. There are, excuse me. Now, it is very important that we know that there are also geographical differences in the use of CVs and resumes. And geographical differences means that place to place have how they call it, what they required from people that are seeking for job and employment. Now, in many countries outside the United States and Canada, the term CV is used interchangeably with resume. Now you have to note this. Let me highlight this place so that you get to see it. Now, why am I highlighting it? Is that in many countries, currently now in Nigeria, where I am recording this lesson, in many countries outside the US and Canada, the term CV is used interchangeably. So that means that a lot of businesses, a lot of people use the two as one, right? So, but in the US, a CV is distinct and used primarily in academic and research context, right? So, but you have to know that in several countries outside the US and Canada, we use the word CV and resume as if they mean the same thing. But we're looking at the difference now. We are looking at these five main difference and we see that they are not the same thing. But we are saying that in the US, a CV is distinct and used primarily in academic and research context in the US. So that means that will give you a form of idea that if you want to apply for a role in the US, and if it is academic or maybe it's a grant or stuff relating to academic like that, you are preparing a CV, not a resume. So, for example, in the UK, you might use a CV for most job applications, while in the US, a CV would specifically be for academic or research roles. This is very, very important. I'm saying this because of people that are seeking for grant. They are seeking for um educational grants. They are seeking for research grants. So in several countries. So this shows you that if you want to apply for these things, depending on the country, you have to be specific. You have to look at, okay, what do you submit? Are you submitting a CV or you are submitting a resume? Excuse me. So you should be able to know that and then submit the one you ought to submit accordingly. Now, in the United States and Canada, resumes are used for most job applications outside of academia and research. Now, let me bold this also. So this is like saying the same thing in another way of this way. We say that in the US and Canada that the in countries outside, but in the US and Canada, a CV is used primarily for academic and research context. But now in the US and Canada, resumes are used for most job applications outside of academia and research. So for example now, if you're applying for a business analyst position in the US, you'll be, typically submit a resume, right? So that is the difference in geographical difference between a CVs and resume. All right, so now let's talk about okay, I have something here. I said here now in Nigeria where I am, and I think probably if you are seeing this video, it might not be in Nigeria, but I've covered what you need to know regarding your country. That is why all of these things are here. In Nigeria right now, CV and resume are used interchangeably. This means that most of those companies request for CV, they just say submit your CV or resume, right? Now they are used interchangeably, but you have to have this orientation that once you are submitting application for something that have to do with academia, academic and all that, you are making a well detailed CV. But when you are submitting for job openings at some companies and all that, know that you are submitting a resume. All right. So, but the two are used interchangeably in Nigeria as one, right? So now let's look at the fifth and the last difference between the two. So lastly, let's talk about customization. Now, a CV is less frequently tailored for each position since it provides a full history of academic credentials. However, a brief section or cover letter might be customized for each application. Now, what is this place talking about? Now, we are saying that in terms of length and detail, in terms of purpose and usage, that a CV, they are more lengthy. It contains everything about you academically. It contains from your day one to all the programs, all the seminars, or things about you, it's contained. So, and it's not as if you want to retailor it to a particular, place or like that. So the only part of a CV that could be, tailored is the cover letter or the brief section about that. You can customize that one for each application, but most of the time it's usually like that. Once you prepare a CV, it's not really changing, right? Because it has contained everything about you. Now let's look at this example. For instance, a CV for different research grants might include a tailored cover letter explaining how your specific research aligns with the grant goals. Oh, okay, this is very important, right? What we are saying here is that while the content of a CV is not changing, what is changing is the motivation letter, the cover letter, or the brief section. So if you're applying for, you can apply for more than one, research grants, but your cover letter for them will not be copy and paste, will be tailored for the particular grant goals so that they will be able to know that your research project is in alignment with their goals. Now let's look at What a CV, the customization of a CV. In contrast, a CV is highly customizable, like 100% customizable. Now, you as a person, you can apply for your role of hotel manager, you can apply for your role of cleaner, you can apply for your role of tech person if you have the required qualification, right? It's highly customized for each job application to highlight the most relevant experiences and skills for the specific job. All right. So, for example, if you're applying for both a project manager position and a project and a product manager position, you might have two different versions of your resume, each emphasizing the relevant skills and experiences for those roles. Now, what are we talking about here? That a resume is highly customizable, 100% customizable. So you can have a resume just like in this example for a project manager, and you can also have a resume for a product manager. You can have a resume for brand manager and have it for as many as possible openings that you feel, you know, that you have the skill set and you have the ability, you have the relevant skills, you have the experience to work on those roles. So you can have several resume that is tailored for those applications. So that is the difference. Unlike a CV that it has contained everything about you and it's not really changing, a resume is flexible and is highly customizable. So to summarize what we have been talking so far, we are saying that a CV is a detailed, comprehensive, multi-page used in academic and research context. Now, get this. To summarize, all those things that we've been talking about since is that a CV is a detailed, comprehensive, multi-page that is used in academic or research context. That is a CV. And a resume is a concise that is tailored, typically 1 or 2 pages, used in general job applications. That is all what this video is about, right? This is the essence of this video, this summary. A CV is a detailed, comprehensive, multi-page used in academic and research context, and a resume is a concise, tailored, typically 1 or 2 pages, used in general job applications. Now, understanding the differences between a CV and a resume will help you prepare the right document for your job search, ensuring you present your qualifications in the most effective way. So that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video very helpful, kindly like, share, and subscribe to the Ilaje Tech Hub campus for more tips and educational content. We'll be coming your way, sharing a lot of job tips, career development, job searching tips, and advice on job searching also. We'll be doing a lot of these videos, but kindly and please like, share, and subscribe so that we'll be able to do this a lot of time, and other people that need this may be able to see it. Now, see you next time. Happy job hunting.